Today I've got an unboxing, a review, and a modification for a console that I just love, the Hyperkin Retron 77. The Retron 77 is an Atari 2600 emulator that plays most Atari 2600 cartridges, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I wanted to show you what's in the box and why I got introduced to this system. Back in fall of 2020, during the COVID pandemic, the early months, I was sitting around and I guess I was getting bored or something. I don't know. Anyway, I started thinking about the 2600 and how I would like to kind of get back into it. I hadn't played console gaming much at the time. I was into PC gaming at the time more. I stumbled across the Retron 77 online, and I started looking into it, and I thought it would be cool to maybe start collecting my 2600 cartridges again. So I purchased one, and after I purchased one, I realized that it can be modded to play virtually every 2600 game that's ever been made. But I wanted something that I could play the cartridges on, because I didn't have a 2600 at the time, an original. So anyway, I got this thing and I started playing it, and it's really my go-to. I have other emulators. I emulate on my computer. I have an AtGames Atari Flashback 9 Gold, which is it's pretty good. It's not bad, but I really love this unit here, and I'm really anxious to show it to you. So without further ado, let's get into some unboxing. As you can see, I have actually two Retron 77s. The top one, the black one there, is the original one that I purchased, and that's the one that I play the most. The orange one here has not been opened yet, and we're going to do the unboxing and the review and the modding on this particular system, so I'm kind of anxious to get into this one. There have been some reviews and instruction videos on how to do the upgrade to the firmware and how to add your games, which we're going to do in this video also. There is something that's been omitted in those videos that I would like to add, which I think would be beneficial to the YouTubers out there. Without further ado, let's get into the unboxing. There's not a lot of information on this box. I will show you the box side so you can see what I'm talking about. But we'll get into it and show you what's on the inside. But I'll show you what's going on here. So you can see the front there, side. There's the back. And then just the sides. There's really not a whole lot going on there. So, all right, let's flip this bad boy over and get to seeing what's on the inside. All right, look at that. Man, that is a bright orange. Yes, okay. So, here is the controller. Now, there's a label on here, and the label on the original one that I've had for a while, and you would think that it would wear off or something, but I've not had that issue. It's not gotten gummy or frayed or anything like that. Now, as you can see, there are two fire buttons on here, but they both do the exact same thing. For whatever reason, Hyperkin decided that they wanted to put buttons on each side, I guess, to accommodate those that are left and right-handed. This cord is 10 feet long. It's very long. I really don't know the need for that, because really, I'll explain in a minute, but you need to be close to the console really to operate this, and you'll understand. If anybody who ever had a 2600 knows that when you played your games originally on the 2600, that you had to be near the system if you were going to hit the reset button or change your cartridges and that kind of thing. But anyway, so there's the controller. Let's see. Let me flip this over. Put this out of the way. Okay. There she is. Same label art on the front of this. Now, here we have buttons. Here we have buttons. This is a save button. You can save states on this thing, which is really cool. And you can load states. But it's dependent on the game that you're playing as to where you're at. And I believe you can only have one load and one save state for each. There's a reset button. This is your select button. I'm sorry, I got it out of the screen. Reset button, select button. This is your on and off. These are your skill levels for player 1 and player 2, and then the 2 controller ports. Here in the front, there's a logo, and if this is anything like the one that I have, this lights up when the power is on, right there. Okay. Now on the back, I'm going to try to put it up a little close so you can kind of see what's going on, if the camera will focus. It's kind of hard to see because the writing kind of blends in. But anyway, there's a USB in for your power, your HDMI, and this is the fry button. A fry button I never used. I never used in the one that I currently have, and I never used. The reason why you use it is because back in the day, if you put in your cartridge in your console kind of half in, half out or whatever, sometimes it would do some weird things. And that mimics the same thing. Sometimes it's beneficial because you can play the game a certain way or it'll look a certain way that it normally doesn't. I never got into that, and I never really had an interest in looking into that. So, but it's there if you want to try that. In the middle there's a 16:9 or a 4:3 aspect ratio button that you can change the ratio on the screen. And then you have your color black and white button, which most people would think that you wouldn't need, but there were some games like Star Master and others that required that you use the black and white switch on the console. So it's there for that reason. And then there's one other thing here, and you can see there's actually a micro SD card slot, and this is how we're going to modify the unit. Here they give you a Hyperkin sticker. Woohoo! Okay, there's that. Thank you for your purchase and support. You're welcome. Instruction manual. In various languages. It's pretty simple. I basically explained everything already, but it's there if you need it. And then I know that there's power options in this box. I'm not sure. I know my original had an HDMI cable. It was a 3-foot. I'm not sure if this will be in here or not. So let's look to see. Oops, dropped the power brick. Okay. There is an HDMI cable. Awesome. Okay, cool. And this is a 6-foot power cord. And then let me get the brick that I dropped. And then here's your power brick. So there you have it. That's what's in the box. Let's get to some gameplay with the cartridges and see what it looks like. Okay, we're all hooked up. And this is what it looks like once you turn it on with no cartridge in it. As you can see, there are 6 icons there. The first icon is a licensing icon. There's really nothing there except some information. But the remaining 5 are homebrews that they include with the system. And they are, let's see what they are. They are Baby, Muncher 77, which is pretty fun. I like that game. Astron 1, Nexion 1, and there's another version of Baby. I'm not so sure. Later. But before we do the mod, I want to show you what it's like out of the box with the cartridges. So what happens is, when you insert a cartridge, you don't need to power on and off the system. You can just insert and take out at will. So I'm going to insert a game. And for some reason, the way they did the cartridge insertion, it's actually backwards from the original. You have to do it opposite, but it's okay. It's just something I like to point out. So anyway, we're going to put in Air Sea Battle. This is the very first cartridge I ever got. And so there you have it. Now I'm going to check the aspect ratio on it. Okay. I believe when you turn the system on and off, it changes to 16:9 automatically. I prefer the original 4:3. So there's 4:3. And you can do the game selection. There's a reset, game selection. So there you go. Now, if I don't want to play that game anymore, I don't have to power off the system. I just take it out. And it goes back to the original screen. And I can try another game. So we're just going to try a few games just so I can show you compatibility. Centipede. Let's see, let's check the ratio again. Yeah, okay. As long as you don't power it back off, the aspect will stay the same. So there's Centipede. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, I've had enough. I just want to show you. Okay, let's try another one. Defender. Works perfect. There you go. Okay, those are Atari games. Now we're going to try some Coleco games. Here's Donkey Kong. There you go. Check it out. Venture. This is a great game. Doesn't seem to be working. Okay, let's take it out and try it again. Maybe it's the way I had it in there. Nope, see, Venture is not working. So some games work, some do not. Now, in the description of the video, I will have a link to a list of known games that work and do not work. It's not an exhaustive list of Atari games by any means, but it gives you a good idea, and it has a good majority of the popular games. So let's try some Activision games. Activision, I love Activision, and this one is one of my favorites. It's Chopper Command. There you go. Okay, that Activision game worked. Now let's try Pitfall. Wow, okay, let's try it again. There we go. Okay, sometimes it's a little quirky, but there we go. Now, these are in 720p, high def 720p. Very crisp, very clean. Looks good. Now, I want to show you another game that I have that I know does not work, and it is Pitfall 2. There's an extra chip in the cartridge, and because of that extra chip it will not work, but I already know that, but I'm going to show you that it does not. Doesn't work. Okay. Okay, now before we get into the mod, let's try some Homebrew games. Now, I've not tried the Homebrew games on my Retron 77 that I've purchased recently, but so this is new to me, so I don't know which ones will work and which ones will not. I have a feeling that it's going to be more miss than hit. Reason being is the technology in the cartridges these days is different also. So, but we're going to try some. I have a variety. I think there's 6 that I have we're going to try. We're just going to plug them in, see if they come on or not. And let's see. First one's going to be Super Cobra Arcade. Great game. Love this game. Okay. Let's try it again. Maybe I didn't plug it in right. Okay. As expected, I didn't think that one would work. Okay. Next one is Juno First. This is an arcade classic. Ported to the 2600. Very good game. Well, let me get it. There we go. Flickered there for a minute. I thought it might work. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Another arcade classic. Great game. Wizard of War. It's in there. It's not doing anything. Okay. So it appears that the homebrews are not a good candidate for the Retron 77. Okay. All right. Galagon does not work. Galagon does not work. This is a great underrated homebrew. This is one of my favorite homebrews right here, Aardvark. Yes! It works! Awesome! Okay. That's one that works. Okay. And then, this is a great game, Space Rocks. This is an Asteroids port. Looks much more realistic to the arcade version. Try to get it in there again. Nothing. Okay, well, you guys get the idea. It's very more miss than hit when it comes to the homebrew versions. But I'd say it plays around 80-85% of the Atari 2600 library, the original releases. The homebrew is not so much. However, once we mod this thing and we can add ROMs, it's a totally different ball game, and you'll see here in a minute. Okay, first thing before we get started with the modification and the firmware update of the Retron 77 is that you need to make sure that you have an SD or a micro SD card reader for your PC. This has to be done on a PC. It cannot be done on a Mac. You need something like this, and as you can see, I have a SD card in there, but it's actually a micro SD card adapter with the micro SD card in there. So that's, you're gonna need that. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to plug it into your computer, and it's going to pop up, and mine is drive H, and so I click on that, and there are all the files. So what I want to do is I want to save everything. I want to make sure that I have all of this in a folder on the micro SD card, just in case there is a problem, because once you start, there's really no turning back, but at least you'll have these files if there is a problem. So what I've done is I've created on my desktop, over here on the bottom right, a folder called Atari ROMs. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these, Control C, And then I'm going to create a folder inside there called, let's just call Retron Backup. Okay. And so now inside there I have Retron Backup. Let's put that out here on the desktop so you can see. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag all of these files into that folder. All right, now they're in there. So then I'm going to put them in the Atari ROMs folder. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to go to this website. This website is the Stella website where you download the firmware update for your Retron 77. So as you can see, there's a list of them here. There'll be a link in the description for this website. So what you want to do is go down where it says firmware 6.6, as that's the current one as to the making of this video, and you click on it to download it. You click on it, and then you scroll down where it says SD card IMG, and you click on that and download it. Okay, then it'll download. Okay, I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to cancel this. So once it's downloaded, you put that on your desktop, and I've got that right there. Now what we want to do is go to this website. Actually, it doesn't have to be this website, but what we want to do is we want to download what's called an etcher. And this will burn an image onto the SD card so that the Retron 77 will recognize it. So what we want to do is we want to download this. There'll be a link in the description for this as well. Click download. And of course I've already got a download, so I'm going to cancel this. And we're going to put that on the desktop as well. Okay, so I have these three things on the desktop. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to double click to install Balena Etcher onto your system, and once it does that, this window will pop up. So this is what we're going to use to burn the image to the micro SD card. So what we do is we go flash from file, click on that, and then we find the file that we want to. It's called SD card. So you find that and you hit open. Okay, now as you can see, it says right there SD card image. That's the file. So select target. Now this is very important. You don't want to select the wrong target, because if you do the wrong target, you can really screw up your hard drive, your computer. You could lose a lot of stuff. You don't want to do that. So you want to hit select target, and where it says generic storage device 120 megabyte, 26 megabytes, click on that. Make sure that that's clicked and nothing else. Okay, and then you hit select, and then all you do is hit flash, and this will take, and you do what it tells you to do, and it's going to do its thing here. It'll only take a few minutes. I'll be back when it's finished. Okay, it's finished. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add some ROMs to the SD card and then plug it into the Retron 77. Now, okay, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you've ejected the SD card, and you do that by going into My Computer, and then you hit the eject button, and it'll be gone. Then you want to plug it back in, and it'll show back up. Okay, you want to double click that drive, and then these are the files that are on your SD card now. So what you want to do is you want to add your games. So there's a folder on here called games. Double click on that, and then what I've done is I have a folder with my Atari ROMs that I want to add to the SD card already on my desktop. So what I'm going to do, if you see at the bottom right there, I'm going to drag those in to that folder, and then there you go. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to properly eject it again. Go back to the desktop and then hit eject, and then it's gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the SD card back into the Retron 77 and see what we got. Okay, now we've got the SD card in the SD card slot on the Retron 77, and you turn it on, and this is what you get. Okay, and as you can see, there's a folder there that says My Atari ROMs, which is the folder that we dragged onto the SD card. So if you take your controller and you double click and you click on that, then this is a list of the games that I had on there. And as you can see, there are a number of them that have preview pics, which is really cool, which is not something that the other version would give you. But I also have some homebrews on here as well. So what we're going to try an old faithful game that was horrible. Yeah, Pac-Man. Okay. Okay, so you get the idea on that one. So you have to hit the reset button on the back. It's actually the fry button. Believe it or not, the fry button is what will get you back. Okay, now we're going to try another one, Pitfall 2. Now Pitfall 2, as you know, with the cartridge would not work. So we're going to try that and see if it will work. Hit the reset button on the front. There we go. So there you go. Pitfall 2, it works. Okay. Let's try Homebrew. Let's do the Space Rocks, which is the Asteroids clone. There you go. There it is. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but we'll play a quick game. There you go. Okay, let's try Super Cobra Arcade. This is a great one. Yep, it's working fine. We tried that with the cartridge, it didn't work. And there you go. Okay. Let's try a couple more. Hero. Hit the reset on the front. There you go. Alright, Hero works. So, I can't tell you where to get your ROMs, but I will tell you that if you do Google searches, you can find pretty much whatever you want that you may legally be able to obtain. Okay? So, let's try Wizard of War Arcade. I love this, and it looks like it's working great also. Okay. Okay. Wizard of War Arcade, and one more. We're going to do Venture Reloaded. We tried the regular Venture, and it didn't work. This is a Homebrew. Excellent. Excellent game. Highly suggest getting this. This is a great game. Okay, there's that. So there you have it. That's how you modify your Retron 77 to add all of your games. Now I want to show you something else too. This is obviously the new build for the Stella emulator on your Retron 77, but you can still play your cartridges on the system. So I have Defender here, and we're going to put Defender in and see what happens when you plug the cartridge in. Same thing, play your cartridges. You just plug it in. When you're done, you unplug it and it'll come back up. And it doesn't matter what cartridge that you put in there as long as it's a cartridge that it will recognize. So there's Centipede. There you go. So there you have it, the Retron 77. I love it. I basically use it as an emulator more than a cartridge. I have pretty much every game on that I own on in ROM version. So if I play on an HD TV, I will use this. So obviously I have a 2600 that I do use. I try to play old school as much as I can, but sometimes the granddaughter will come over and we'll have it on the TV, and so this is just an easy way to have it set up, turn it on, put the controllers in, and just play in front of the whole family. So glad you guys could visit with me today. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll get back to you. Appreciate you watching. If you like what you've seen here, subscribe to the channel, and be sure you turn on your notification bell so you know when we have new videos. So with that, have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time.